Welcome to Enrichment of Mind, Body, and Soul. How are you guys doing?
Excellent, great.
Happy Easter to each and every one of you. And this is such a great time because everything is blossoming, everything is blooming, you know. And what a better time to bring such a topic, the power of choice and relationship closure. Because
Mhm.
many times we don't realize that we have a choice. We have a choice in what we're eating. We have a choice if we want to end relationships. We have a choice with everything. It all depends upon us. We have that power, but many times we don't realize that we have that power. So this evening, Raschell is here and she's going to help us to understand that we have that choice. And feel free to ask her any questions because pertaining to the subject, because when we come here on enrichment of mind, body, and soul, this space is to enrich you. Every week, we bring guests on here to help you as an individual that you can pivot and start to move forward with your life. Because many times we are feeling stuck, we are feeling burnout, we're feeling stressed out, and we really don't know how to move forward. But when you tune in to enrichment of mind, body, and soul, there's so many takeaways when you walk away from this space. There's so many takeaways. There's so many tools that you can add to your toolkit as you move forward in life. We're just here to bring you messages. And as we always say, you take what you want and you leave what you don't want. And this evening we have an empowering podcast for you. And if you know a friend who is struggling with choice, who is struggling with difficult endings and closures, just share them this link to this podcast because they might walk away with something this evening that could help them to pivot and restart because we have the power to restart. We have that power to move forward. And sometimes we feel stagnant, we feel unworthy. It depending on the things them that was being said to us. Many times we got limiting beliefs. We are running an old paradigm and we're sitting there and we just keep running these stuff through our heads every day. But we are here this evening to let you know you can change the script. You can change the narrative. You can pick up yourself and you can move forward. You can make it happen. It's only you. It's all up to you. It's all up to you because you got the choice. The choice is yours. And we as individuals, it's difficult many times for us to pick ourselves up, harness ourselves, and to move forward. It's difficult, very difficult for many people because many times you're not surrounded by the right kind of people who can empower you and help you to move forward. So if you're that individual that don't have that empowering circle or that empowering community, it's time that you really leave those communities and that circle because you need people who can lift you up, who can support you, genuinely and honestly support you when you're not feeling your best, when those days arise in your life that you said, oh, today I'm really feeling down. Who are you reaching out to for that support? Is that person lifting you up in that space, or is that person driving more things to bring you down? Sit with that
Mm.
because many times that is what is happening with us. And it makes us feel as though we are comfortable in that space when we need to get out from that space. So this evening, you're at the right place at the right time because this is going to help you to move forward from that space that you're in. And I hope you continue to do your journaling. I also hope that you're continuing to pause and doing some self-reflection, because it's time that we really do that for ourselves. You have the choice. It's time that we do that for ourselves, because if we many times we have to do those introspections. We have, because we are moving through life. Things will arise in our lives. Our values is going to change. Our boundaries are going to change. So many things is going to change, because remember, we are making different choices as we're moving through life. So that is why we got to pivot. We got to ask ourselves, is this serving me right? Do I need to get out from this space? Am I growing here? Am I evolving here? So there are so many things as we move through life. But you know what? I'm not going to take up much more of the time, because we need these messages this evening. And I'm Karen Pascal, holistic health and wellness coach, and a co-author of 2 books with my sister Joan. Your gut in you and self-care is intentional. And if you haven't grabbed those books yet, it's time that you go to Amazon. The links are being provided in the show notes. Grab yourself some copies. And also, we got our digital magazine and our hard copy magazine. It's free of cost. We're doing it all for you. Just go subscribe so you can receive either the digital copy. Whichever part of the world you are, you're going to get a digital copy. We're going to send it to your inbox free of cost. And every month, there's so many good takeaways that you can read and empower yourself as well. We are here to be of service. We're serving you. So I'm not going to take up much more of the time. I also want to let you know that on the 22nd is 11 years for 246 Bajan Vibes family. And we just want to congratulate 246 Bajan Vibes family for giving us this platform that we could come to you every week and bless your life with some good message. So we just want to congratulate them, and we want to say happy anniversary to you. I'm Raschell, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to Enrichment of Mind, Body, and Soul. I'm going to toss the mic now to Lady J. Lady J, take the mic.
Wow, wow, wow. Wow, Lady K. Very empowering opening.
Thank you. Thank you.
What a
That is
great
what we got to do here, empowering. That's what we're doing.
right, right. And so that is why Rachel is here tonight to really empower and pour on us and the audience. Where are we at this point in time in our lives? We're in the second quarter. Things are moving so quickly. So this is a good topic that we're discussing tonight, and such an amazing and special person who is going to be presenting this topic tonight to us, so that it can really serve us very well, and that we can stop, pause, and think, where are we and how are we going to move forward? Because making choices, whether you're making a choice or you're not making a choice, you are making a choice.
Absolutely. I like that.
You are. So
Mhm.
so whatever you're deciding or whatever you decide to do with your life from this moment forward, you are making a choice. You are making a choice. But thinking about it, don't forget to show yourself grace, love, and compassion. It's essential. You're dealing with a lot of challenges, a lot of setbacks, a lot of failures, a lot of rejection, a lot of no's. But how do we handle that? How we deal with that? How do we make the choice when we receive the no's and receive rejection, and we feel receiving failures? How do we make that choice to move forward and not feeling down because there is a setback? Are we able to lift ourselves up and move forward from the space of the comfort zone and being complacent? I know we spoke up, touched a little bit about that a few weeks ago when we talked about complacency. So, what are we choices are we making tonight? But tonight, in my opinion, I just want to say congratulations to everyone. Happy Easter, but congratulations also to everyone who's making those bold moves, who are deciding to make bold choices, who are deciding to step out, taking that first step. You're not looking at the staircase. You're making that first step. So we just want to congratulate you for doing that, because making that choice is a decision you're making to move in a trajectory, to set your future up, to move forward, and to own who you are. You stepping in your purpose. What kind of energy do you bring into a space, whether you having a conversation one on one or in a group setting? How are you making people feel? Because people always remember how you make them feel. And so that's so essential. What value are you bringing to the space? What value are you bringing to the space? Are you showing yourself love and gratitude? Providing yourself with a level of comfort, knowing that, yes, you give gratitude for the people in your lives who support you, uplift you, inspire you. But what about you? What about you? Are you giving gratitude for yourself? How far you've came? So many things you've overcome through all the challenges that you've been through, but you're still standing strong. Your feet is planted on the ground and you're affirming yourself on a daily basis. I know who I am. What are your I ams? Because what follow after I am is so important. What are your inner dialogues? What are you saying to yourself on a daily basis? We're here to say to you tonight, as you look yourself in the mirror on a daily basis, remind yourself that you're special. Remind yourself that you are unique. Remind yourself that you are worthy. Remind yourself that you are capable, that you can go after whatever is it that you desire. Yes, sometimes our goals, they're not easy. But as we move forward, you will be surprised. So the people in your lives who's going to support you as you take that step, as I was talking about, as you take that first step and you move in the level of alignment, because you're aligning yourself with the right kind of people who can help you to move forward and attain that level of success that you desire. So celebrate your wins as well, big or small. You work hard to get there. Stop, pause, and celebrate that moment. Pausing is so important because there is power in pause. Because you're pausing to give yourself gratitude as well, but you're pausing for reflection. You're pausing and giving yourself that moment. That moment you may get so inspired. Lean into your inner wisdom. Lean into that intuition because it's super important. So tonight, sit back, relax, find a great spot that is comfy, cozy, so you can relax and you can let's pour on you tonight the power of choice. And our amazing guest, Raschell, who continue to illuminate the world, share her inspiration, her insights, and help others and empower on a daily basis. She's sharing space with us tonight, and it's going to empower us and help us to move forward in this season of 2025 and beyond. So, Rachel, we just want to say thank you for saying yes. Thank you for sharing this space with us tonight. And we know that there is so much goods and that you're going to expand our toolkit so that as we leave this space tonight, we've got a lot of great info, a lot of great insights, a lot of new perspectives, how we can move forward, making that power of choice. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I feel very, very honored. You two have done such a beautiful introduction. I'm good. I can go now. You guys did it. That's amazing. No,
Thank you.
I thank you for having me. I think the reason I chose this was because the power of choice is so important. And I think for me, it began probably, when I had two small children. I decided to choose a different path. I decided to make a choice that was not in what was given to me by family and friends that was the best choice, but I chose to do something that was my choice for the better of myself and for my children at that time. And I was berated. I was told you shouldn't be doing that. That's not a good thing. But I did it anyway because I believed the choice that I was making was the best thing. And as I moved through life, I noticed that, and this is something that we all do, is that when we are about to make a choice, we look outside of ourselves for validation from everybody else in order to make that choice. And I'm here to say that that is something you might want to take a moment and ask yourself, is that really what you want? Do you need someone else's opinion to make that choice? And I always, as I say to people, and even myself at times, the right answer is within you. It is not outside of yourself. If you take a moment, place your hand on your heart, close your eyes, even if you're at work, if you're in your car, if you're sitting at the kitchen table, and you take a moment and you ask the question, whatever it is for you, you'll get a yes or no answer. Intuitively will come up. You won't get a whole story because that's your mind, but you'll get a yes or a no or maybe a maybe. But it'll be very short, very sweet. That is your answer. Now, here's where the hard part comes in, the fear. The fear will now step in, and that's a normal evolution because you're scared. This is a choice. Maybe that's something that's uncomfortable for you, that maybe is taking you out of your comfort zone, maybe is something that is against what you normally do. So immediately fear is going to step into there and you're going to second guess yourself. You're going to ask, oh, but I can't do this, but I can't do that. But why should I do that? And I'm here to remind you that yes, you can. It is your reality. It is your choice what you do. So this has happened to me, of course, and many times throughout my lifetime, I've made choices and then second guessed myself and then sat in fear. But remember, everything that you want, everything is there. It's whether you are going to let it in. And it's your choice how you wake up in the morning. It's your choice what you think. It's your choice how you decide to begin your day. I spoke with this about Lady J the other morning. It's, getting up in the morning and having those few moments to yourself is again a choice to honor how beautiful you are. Do you choose to do that, or do you choose to jump out of bed and jump into the car and rush off to work and run around screaming at everybody, trying to get everything to organized? And believe me, we've all done it, but it's your choice. And people will choose again to have an excuse or a because or of this or of that. But again, it's your choice what you choose to think. So, probably I would say about 10 years ago, I made a significant choice to stop doing that. Maybe more, maybe 12. I wanted to take a moment in the morning and give myself the grace and honor myself before I began my day. And it now people look at me and they think, how do you have the time to do that? Because I made the choice to honor myself first before anybody else. And that has shifted my trajectory because I get up in the morning, I go through my routine, what I like to do, and I honor that time. And it may be an hour and a half to 2 hours, but it's my time. And it sets, and we talked about this, Lady J, the vibration, the tone for the day. But it's your choice. You can get up in the morning and you can think the same thoughts. You can go into that negative as soon as you wake up, and then your day will unfold exactly how it's going to unfold. But I think if we take a moment, and I can see that collectively humanity is beginning to change, it's beginning to realize that you have the power of choice. And when someone comes to me and says, I don't because of this, and I don't because of that, and I don't because of this, I ask them a simple question. Is this really your reality? A bunch of becauses. And they will give me answers back and forth as to why. And I say, well, I explain a little bit of, I give them a little bit of history on my life. And then they realize, oh, okay, if she can do it, then I can do it. And this is why I started my podcast, is because I wanted to share those empowering stories of people that had gone through a lot of that deep, transformation, trauma, abuse, they had enlightenment, they whatever it was, and they'd come out on the other side and they had shifted their blueprint. They had shifted their trajectory. So it is really a powerful, powerful thing if you really think about it. Is you hold so much power within you, but we tend to not honor ourselves. We tend to always ask somebody else, what do they think? And that it's not a bad thing, but you have to remember that the true answer is right here. It's right here. It's not outside. So I thought that that was something I really wanted to share because these days life is tough. It's hard. It's, there can be a lot of outside influences affecting you. And unless you take that moment, whatever it is, at the beginning of your day to really honor yourself, a lot of that can come into your life and it can kind of throw you off, you know, and you have a harder time getting back on that horse again because you're not in balance with who you are. And I think that's something for any of our listeners or watchers is that really understanding who you are and how sovereign and how incredibly beautiful you are as a soul and a person is the first step in making a choice. Everything else will come, but you have to honor yourself on how amazing you are and tell yourself that. And that's hard for people, is to really honor that. So I just thought I would share that little bit with you guys.
That was profound. That was profound. Raschell, that was so profound. And I like it, but the ending part where you spoke about your balance, honor yourself, your sovereignty. And you're right, because sometimes people find it a hard time to say it to themselves, like where we say, you're special, you're amazing. I am amazing. I am beautiful. Because you're claiming that, you are reaffirming that to yourself, because that is what helps you. That's what motivates you. That's help you to stand strong,
Mhm.
owning who you are. So when you show up in spaces and whatever you're doing in life, you're moving at a level of knowing who you are. You owning that. And people, that vibration can be felt whenever in any space that you move into, because you've already embodied that. So when you
Mm.
walk into a room, you're coming with that level of vibration. You're owning it. You know who you are. And taking the time to honor yourself on a daily basis is super important, because you're getting grounded, you're feeling strong, you're focusing on your inner being. What is your inner dialogue? What are you telling yourself before you get started in the day? What are you leaning into?
Mm.
So that because as we move into life and we step out of our home environment, or even we doing virtually online, as we encounter the outer environment, you have to encounter so many things. So setting the tone can help you. Setting the tone, that means that you're taking the time for yourself, so that whatever you encounter in those moments, you're balanced, you're center, you're grounded, you're whole, and you can move forward and embrace and accept what it is that you're encountering in that moment. It might be a lot of discomfort, but you know who you are. You already set that tone. You fortify yourself, so you can move forward, knowing it's okay. I'm gonna be fine. I already did the work. Lady
Yeah.
K. Thank you, Rachel.
Hmm.
You know, there's some really good tools you've just given to us, Rachel. Because as I really like how you really emphasize our morning routine, because our morning routine shapes our day.
Hmm.
And a lot of times people don't realize how important is our morning routine. The first thing people say, they don't have time. But you know what? You have the choice to find the time.
Okay.
It's your choice to find the time.
Hmm.
Because if you want to feel grounded, if you want to feel centered, you want to feel balanced, it depends on how you start your day. It all depends on how you start your day. You need to focus on you before you start to pour.
Mhm.
Because many times when we leave our homes empty and we don't recharge our batteries, we don't pour into ourselves, and we just get up and we leave, we're not fulfilled. When things show up in our lives, we're not able to handle it. Because remember, we didn't take time to start the day right. Whether it's meditation, whether it's prayers, whatever works for you, whatever modalities works for you, use it. Use it to your advantage. So when you show up and show up in spaces, you can be authentic. Whatever show up in that space with you, you can understand that situation in that space and at that point in time. And because you know what? You already laid a foundation before you left home. So when you step out, you're ready. You're ready for your day. You're ready to start the day because you pour into yourself. Because every time when we leave our homes, we're going to pour into somebody. Whatever conversation that you're going to have is an exchange of energy. And sometimes the exchange of energy is not nice. But how are you going to handle that energy when you're exchanging words with that person? So you've got to pour into yourself so that whenever you show up, you can show up and you can understand what you're dealing with. Because many times we go into spaces, and when we go into these spaces, sometimes an energy show up, and when it show up, it's not very nice at all. How are you handling that? Because that many times when things show up, it really has nothing to do with us, It's how that person is feeling. So I really like how Raschell really pinpoint our morning routine because we gotta honor ourselves. We gotta honor, it's a choice. We gotta honor us. We gotta love ourselves. We gotta show ourselves love and compassion because it starts with us. And when you do that, then you could extend it out into the world. That is the only way you can do that. It starts with you and the way how you see the world. Because many times, whatever is happening internal, that is how you're going to see the external. Or whatever is happening internal, that is what you're going to track on the external. So we all have to understand that it starts with us. Whatever we chose to do, it starts with us. And it's our choice. That's the big word, choice. It's free. We have a free choice. You understand, Rasha? It's free. We have the choice. If you're in a space and you don't like that space, you can leave that space. You have the choice. If you're having a friendship with someone and that person is draining you, you have the choice. It's all about choice, And that brings me to a question for you, Rasha.
Mhm.
How does choice contribute to resilience in the face of relationship challenges?
That's a good question. Well, actually was going to say something not to the relationship, but along those lines, but I will address it in the relationship. So for people that are in a relationship and they say, well, I don't have a choice. I'm in this relationship. It's uncomfortable. I have trauma or, it's not working. First and foremost, remember that you cannot control the other person. Whether
True.
it's business or maybe it's a romantic
True.
relationship or maybe it's a friendship. You cannot control the other person. However, What you can control is your reality. And that simply means that you have to look at what you want to see show up in your life. And your consistent resilience to see what you would like to see will start to show up. Now, it may shift you out of that relationship, out of that business venture, because ultimately, remember, what you can conceive in your mind is only a tiny, tiny part of what the universe can actually show up for you and bring to you. So if you want that consistency in a relationship, whatever type of relationship it is, then it's making the choice to see that relationship for you as a positive. Whatever is going through, you see it beyond where you'd like to see it go. And slowly, the ether, the universe will start to bring in those vibrations and it will seek expression in within your life. Now, that may sound a little woo-wooey, but it does work, because when you focus on something with consistency and with emotion, you can't just think about something every day and go, oh, well, I would really like that car, and then forget about it 5 seconds later. Oh, I'd really like to have a relationship, or I'd really like to go into business. You have to have an emotional connection behind that.
Right.
That
Right.
emotion then creates that. Energy is everything, and everything is energy, is a room I used to have. So it will seek expression, meaning it will bring it to you. So in your relationships, having the resilience to understand that you are what you want to see, the choice that you're going to. So if it's for you, if you've decided the business is not working and you'd like to have something else, then focus on what you would like to see with your business. If it's a relationship with someone, then perhaps focus on what you would like to see. It may move you out of the relationship,
Right.
or it may sort and change something within the relationship that the other person will feel your energy shifting and start to react to that vibrational change. But it really, again, is back up to you. And it really is a very simple thing that you can do every morning, and you can do it even in the evening. And because when you're in that quiet space just before you wake up, that maybe 10 minutes where you're kind of in and out, you're basically gone into sleep from an alpha and beta, and then you're going to theta, which is kind of the collective that is closest to the God consciousness. But when you're in that veil, that small sweet spot just before you wake up, that is the most important time for anybody who's listening to place your hand on your heart
Yes.
and
Yes.
ask for what you want, and see it with
Yes.
your eyes and
Yes.
feel it with your emotions.
Yes. Yes.
You
Yes.
are so powerful at that moment because the mind has not taken over. You're coming from a place of the heart. And so, if that's relationship resilience, if it's a business, if it's whatever it is, your choice, you see it, you feel it, and then you put it out there and let it go and begin your day with your whatever your routine is. So I hope I answered that question.
Yes. Perfect.
That was so beautifully answered. Because
Mm-hmm.
but also, I don't want to use but, also, that is why it's so important to know who you are. Because knowing who you are and growing and evolving, that is how you can attain the level and live the life of fulfillment. That is what is it that you're going after. So, as you describe, Rachel, so beautifully, you got to get quiet.
Mhm.
Your mindset is so important, because as we're gathering new information and learning that where our focus goes is super important for us. So we have to, I think, and also clarity, knowing what you want. What is it you want? That, I think, that is where you're making the choice. Knowing what you want. And when you know what is it that you want and what is it you're aspiring for, then you can able to make a choice wisely. And as you describe with the relationship, what do I want to see in this relationship? What do I want the outcome to be? And then you have to start thinking at your visualization, your thinking, not focusing on what you don't want, but
Mm.
focusing on what you want. Because I think sometimes we focus on not what we don't want, and when we put our energy in that, then we don't get a result. Correct?
Mhm. Yes. But like I said before, also remember that you cannot control anybody else. So
Right.
even though
True.
you may,
Absolutely.
but remember too, when you put that out there, you may not see the what you think is the results you would like to see.
True. True.
However, God, the universe has something bigger and better for you because something will shift and then you'll start to see it. It may be a few days, it may be a few months, it may be a few years. But if you're consistent on what you'd like to see, whatever it's addressing to, family, friends, relationship, partnership, business, it will shift because you're putting that
Yes.
good energy out there
Yes.
of what you would like
Yes.
to see.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then it will give you something that's more in alignment with what you want.
Exactly.
You may
Exactly.
not think it's what you want, but it's more in alignment with what your soul wants, right?
That is so true. And I think the key word that you mentioned is consistency.
Hmm.
Because it can be today and not tomorrow. And
True.
being consistent, that is how you can attain everything that you aspire and what you're going for. My question to you is, as we're talking about a power of choice, how do we handle being in a situation with distraction and have to make a choice in that moment, whether it's on your job, whatever that may be? How do you handle it?
This
How
is
do
a
you make the choice?
this is a great question, a great question.
Thank you.
And the reason why I'm saying this is because I recently just went through this. I had distraction. And I like to say, as my beautiful friend Misty says, it's like I was on the path and I kind of hit the side where the rumble strips are. And I started to feel the rumbling strips, right? And avoiding the red flags of the distraction. And they weren't red, they were purple and green and all the other colors, but not red, even though in my heart I knew they were red. But I could feel it here that this was not the path I was supposed to go. But I kept pushing a little bit. And then I sat quiet and I said to myself, is this really in the highest good for me? What I'm doing? Do I really feel good about this, or am I just doing this because I think I will feel good? And it did take me about, I would say, a couple of weeks to kind of come into an alignment with that because I could feel myself coming off and coming back on, meaning I was on that path and I was kind of, I was like driving and it was kind of veering off, a little bit on those rumble strips. And I could, no, this doesn't feel good. And I could feel that it wasn't in alignment. And I think that's the biggest message is you're ultimately going to know, you're going to feel it in your core, even though up here is going to tell you, oh no, it's fine, just keep going. But I could feel it in here that it wasn't in alignment and it was throwing me off. And I think that was probably the decisive moment for me where I said, I'm done. I'm done and I'm going to walk away. And blessings to everybody, but I'm going to walk away because this is not in alignment with who I am. And there's too many red flags and I don't feel good for anybody. And I wish them all the best, but it's not in alignment for me. I don't wish anybody any harm, but it's not in alignment for me. So it is hard to do, but you have to do it for you
Right.
because it's not the right thing. So I hope I answered that question, but that's
Yes.
probably the best I can say.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that question, and I know it's going to resonate with a lot of people who is going to watch us, who are watching us live, and who is going to be watching us on the replay because it's a knowing, it's a feeling. Everything looks good, and I this is something that I would like to do or whatever it is, but you're feeling something and you're feeling the uneasiness, and I guess that's your intuition, you would say maybe. Uh,
Yes.
this is what I'm feeling, and I don't feel it. So you're making the power you're utilizing the power of choice, and you're saying it, and I like how you said it too as well, because we believe in that too. I don't wish anybody any harm, but I'm making the choice for me. At this moment, I don't feel I'm aligned with this purpose or project or what it would be. And you would say, you're saying, I feel comfortable making this power choice because it does not align. I wish everybody well, but I'm going to take a step back
Hmm.
because it does not align with me in this moment. And I'm going to move to my next, whatever universe has for me in my path.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Lady K?
This conversation is
Beautiful.
so enriching, you know.
Thank you
It's
so
very
much, Raschell.
informative. Yeah. It's
Hmm.
very informative. It is so enriching because what we're discussing here this evening is what happens every single day to people.
Hmm.
It's relatable, you know, and many times people don't know how to navigate and they do not know that endings are necessary,
Hmm.
transition is necessary for us to move forward with our lives.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But in those periods of the transitioning and the endings, there is where the challenges arise. And
Mhm.
what are we doing when these times come in our lives, the transitioning and the endings? How are we going to heal ourselves in these moments? What modalities are we going to use in these moments when these challenges arise in our lives? And I really like when you touch on believing in yourself
Mhm.
when you're in a situation and you get that gut grinch feeling that this is not for me. I must remove my energy from this space. Many times we force to keep ourselves into spaces because of circumstances.
Right.
And when we force to keep ourselves in spaces because of circumstances, we get burnout, we get stressed out, anxiety step in, depression step in. So many things start to cascade. Our health start to cascade. You know, there is when we got in to say, you know what? This is not really serving me right. If you got
Mhm.
to put in an application for another job somewhere else, start working on that.
Mhm.
Start working on that behind the scenes. Start working on that. Start to take the necessary steps. Again, you got a choice. Start to make those necessary steps that is going to move you forward from that space. Because you know within yourself, this is not serving me any longer. I've got to get myself away from this space. So, if you're that individual, just know that choice empowers you. Choice is the ticket that you have in your hands that could move you from space to space. That's the ticket. The choice is the ticket that you can move yourself in different spaces. But first, you got to go within yourself. Because
Absolutely.
a lot of times we are looking on the outside to find the answer, not knowing the answer is within us. Because many times we're listening to those noise. Girl, you know what you're doing? Boy, you know what you're doing? You think you could handle that job? You think you're good enough for that job? All of these things start to noise start to come into your ear, and then you start to doubt yourself. So self-doubt start to creep up now. Fear start to creep up now. And then you start to tell yourself a whole lot of things, which is not true. You know you better than anybody else. You know you. You know the power that you have within your hands and the things that you are capable enough of doing. So do not limit yourself. You are limitless.
Love
So
that.
today, if you're listening to us, just know that you got a power in your hands. Whatever the situation, whatever is the dynamics, you got a power in your hands and you could remove yourself from that situation. If you want to tolerate it, it's your choice. It's all your choice. Right, Rachel?
Absolutely. It's always your choice. It's your choice. It's your choice how you get up in the morning. It's your choice what you decide to put in your mouth. It's your choice how you respond to someone. It's always your choice.
Choice. Absolutely.
And you have a small window before you make a choice, before you say what you want to say, or you eat something that maybe not so good for you. You have a small window where you can say, I choose not to do this today.
Mm,
I
Right.
choose
that's
I choose
beautiful.
something better. But it starts really, really small. It doesn't mean that you have to get up tomorrow and run 5K in the morning and eat a
True.
vegan diet and, be so strict. No, you're not going to last. It's not going to
True.
adapt.
True.
It's a
Sure.
slow step because remember, you're on this journey. You've made this choice. You're going this way. So for you to go 360 the other way, you're not going to stick with it.
Right.
So I like to tell my kids it's little
Sure.
tweaks each day. So me starting the routine that I did every morning and the way that I eat now didn't happen overnight. It was the mindset, first of all. Then it
Mm-hmm.
was once
Biggie.
the mindset was there of what I could achieve, then it became the physical of doing the things that I wanted to do. Then, it was changing the way I eat. It was slow little tweaks to the things. And eventually I got to a point where I was so it was like brushing my teeth in the morning. If I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do those things, if I didn't do those things, it felt like I hadn't brushed my teeth.
Right.
And so it was so important that I did that every morning to start the morning. And for someone, it could be as simple as going outside and, looking at the world for a moment or sitting in their window or taking a moment at their kitchen table and having grace and gratitude for everything they have, the soft pillow in their bed, their cat that's purring at their feet, or the warm heater that's heating their house. Those small tiny little things are huge. They're massive. So I think that when you're in gratitude, and you choose to be in gratitude for those small things, the bigger things start to come to you. And the things that you want to see in your life and the choices you want to see start to show up. And that can be everything. It can be from your exercise routine to your mindset to what you're putting in your mouth. Because remember, you have the brain here and you have the
True.
brain in your
True.
gut.
God. You're
And
speaking our
so,
language there.
pardon me?
You're speaking our language because the book we wrote on gut health is the gut brain axis.
Right, exactly. And it is so important because if this gut is not in a good place, then it affects this,
Mm-hmm.
right? And, I had a child who got very sick with Crohn's disease, and it was something that I did not expect, he did not expect, but it happened. It made our family very aware of everything that we ate how we were kind of I was called a granola bar growing up because I was very natural, but things happen, our food is not the best, but what you put in your stomach affects this. So as much as you're choosing to say I'm going to make this routine, I'm going to get up every morning, but if you're not feeding your body, because remember it's mind, body and soul, if you're not feeding that body healthy vibrational high vibrational food, then you're not going to have clear mindset as to the choices you want to
True.
make.
True. There,
So, really
you're
tuning
so right.
into what you're putting in your mouth, how often you're eating, and what type of food you're eating.
Exactly. What are you eating?
Yeah. And I think that is, massive. I've spent a lot of time over the last couple of years really touching on some of the natural foods that are out there, like chaga mushrooms, are so healthy. They can help with the immune system. And just working a lot with herbs and stuff, within your daily turmeric and, just all those things that you should start your day with natural things, fasting to a certain time of the day because you're higher, your cortisol is lower, your growth hormone is higher, you feel better, you have more energy, and then breaking that fast with nutritional food such as dates, which I spoke about at the beginning. They don't spike your glucose, nuts, fresh fruit to give you that energy, and then continuing your day. And I know I spoke a little bit with Joan about this. I recently had tapped into the beautiful power of cacao and realized why they called it the drink of the gods, because does it not only help your body, but it also really starts to heal it. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but just 2 cups of raw cacao, which you can mix with honey, milk, or water, whatever you like, will actually double your stem count in 30 days. And as you know, stem cells, they go out into the body and they start to heal and look for inflammation. So if you're healing your body and you're taking care of your body, then your mind becomes more clear and your choices become more aligned with what you want to see. And the cacao has been a very big part of my life. And I'm actually, as I mentioned before, on my way down to Panama this year in the latter part to really support Indigenous people down there, and how important it is to encourage that, to have the cacao in our daily diet. But the reason I swing this back to this is because, as you guys have said, both of you on this podcast, is that it is the mind, body, and soul. And that
Yes.
having the mindset to make the choices, then your body must be in a good place of alkaline. It must feel good. You must feel good, and then your soul can really fly. But it's having all three, right? And if you're missing a part of it, then there's going to be kind of a not feeling completely in alignment. So it's not just about the mindset, it's the choice to, let's make a little tweak every day. Let's not have that Dunkin' Donuts. Let's not have that coffee with 4 sugars. Maybe let's just pull back and find something else. Let's try to eat a little bit less food today and feel, maybe we push our body to not eat until maybe 10 o'clock. There's little tweaks. It's not going to work for everybody, but find that sweet spot that works for you. So I
Find the
just
sweet spot that works for you. Wa- Wow.
So I thought I would just throw that little piece in there as
No,
well.
that was perfect. That was perfect. Welcome, well.
Wow.
Thank
You
you.
know,
Can you hear me?
yes, we're hearing you.
Okay.
How are you
Sorry.
doing, Mel? We're getting a feedback.
Right.
I'm good. I'm good. Enjoying this conversation. It sounds like you guys are having a great conversation. I am. Okay, hold on.
You got a choice, Will.
Okay. That take care of it?
You did.
I got all kind of stuff going on around me. Tech is talking to me.
Yeah. No.
AI,
Yeah, we're
AI
hearing
wants to be
you.
entertained. Okay, now I'm with you. I think I'm clear. All
You
right.
think you're clear?
Okay.
I think
You
I'm
made a good
clear.
choice.
Yes. Yes. It sounded like you guys were having a great conversation. So I'm just going to chime in here and join, I guess, the back end of your conversation, and we'll move, into whatever comes forth.
What can you tell us about
Yeah.
choice?
Choice?
Put your piece in
Choice.
here.
Okay. Well, that's, choice is a uh, let me find the right word I want to use.
Make a good choice here now.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. That's the thing about choice. It has options to it, and so a lot of times when people say you have a choice, it's too much for them to, you know, take in and actually do something with it. Because in this society, we've been trained to follow instructions. And
Yes.
so it's hard for some people, to see themselves operating outside of that. So when you give them choices, that overwhelms them. They would much rather have it to where it's some sort of routine that they actually can follow and have been, programmed into. So choice for me myself, though, if I speak for myself here, I love choice. It gives me the options to then broaden the spectrum of taking in the information and processing it, and then deciding how to respond to it. A lot of times we react to things, and what people should be doing is responding to it. Because when you do that, that means you're taking enough time to process what you're
Right.
encountering. And
Yes.
so if you do that, you're going to come out a much better situation. It'll be much better for you if you can do that. But now people are impatient, so more than often, people are going to just jump in and react to it, and that gets them into more trouble.
True.
That's
Right.
that's where the problem comes up at.
Hmm. I like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I appreciate that. You, you
Yeah.
know, uh, you mentioned a little bit about I guess people having trouble deciding how to go about getting to that too. Now, to some degree, it comes upon what your belief system is built around.
True.
What is that made of? And most times people's belief system is not foundationally strong. It's made of straw, and so when you start attacking it, then pieces start to fall away, and they can't handle that. So that's why a lot of times people will run away from being put in a situation where they have to choose. And you see this in the workplace more than often than you want to see it. Uh, a lot of times, the people who are just used to getting the order and then just fulfilling that order,
Hmm.
when you give them the option to make a choice,
Right.
it bogs them down and they don't know what to do with that. So if you take that in any other aspect of your life, the same thing happens. So yeah, people, walking around and saying that they're boss this, boss that, and but they're alpha this or sigma that, or most situations they don't know what that personality actually is. And then if you put them in a choice based, you know, position, they don't know how to make that choice. And so somebody that's just carrying that type of position will actually make a proper choice for what they need to have that's going to give them what they need, right? I operate from first principle thinking where it's the what, why, and how. And so as I process information, that's how it comes in. As I'm processing how, the what, and then the why, how I'm going to make this all work in order for me to feel comfortable with it. But people don't have foundational systems where they operate that soundly from. So that's why we have so much chaos, and at a time where we're going through chaos as a society, it's a bad mix. It's horrible. So a lot of times now, if you look, people are more stressed out than they've ever been because they don't
Sure.
have a sense of direction of where they're going to go.
True. True.
So it
So
can
true.
create all sort of drama for you.
So true.
So true. Thank you for giving us that choice, well.
I appreciate you, Lady J.
Yeah, Rachel, we just want to ask you this. Talk to us about how Roots for Success was created.
Okay, sure. So Roots for Success was created in 2016, 17. And the reason why I began that company was because everything starts at the roots. All
Oh,
your
that's
core
beautiful.
beliefs,
That's beautiful.
all of your foundations, and as Will so beautifully alluded to, your belief system, everything is in the roots. It's what you've been taught as a kid, it's what your peers say, it's what your friends around you. So you have to make sure that your foundation is strong. And so Roots for Success was some teaching people to understand that if your roots are not in a place where you want them to be, if they're not solid in the ground, if you don't feel good about who you are, then having abundance and success in any area of your life is going to be extremely hard because you're not grounded. So that's where the name of the company came from.
Wow, that's so beautiful.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
That's good. Really good. Uh, if I may ask you a question, because you're talking about something that I see as the future, and my companies are starting to, we started moving in that direction back in 2023, right? Where we're moving into what's going to be a more of a solution-based economy. And so if you don't have a solution for real problems that people are experiencing instead of this, what we have now, just, highlighting that, hey, buy this because everybody is cool to do what everybody else is doing, that's going to be more conducive to what society is going to be in the future. Everything is going to be based around some type of solution. You're going to have a solution. You just can't like create like a garment, for instance. If you just create something and just slap your tag on a logo on it, that's not going to be enough. And as we see over the last few days, we've seen what's going on with China, exposing this stuff. But you're not going to be able to just stick a tag on it and say buy it because we have a luxury brand. That's not going to be enough for you. So I like what you're doing with your company. So talk to us a little bit. I guess I'm asking this question to you, a little bit about how companies can take solutions and make it something that's I guess more sustainable, because a lot of times you're talking about companies that are blurring the line between nonprofit and profit, right? And so talk to us a little bit about how you ride that line and make it to where it works for you.
Well, I'm not an expert in it, but I would say that the first part is the power of choice of what you want to see
Sure.
and how you want that to show up in your life. So are you doing it from a place that is coming from within your heart, or are you doing it for something that is going to be just generating money, just because money can be made at any time. You can always make lots of money, but is it sustainable? Is it going to stick with you? Are you going to feel good about it in 10 years, in 20 years, in 30
Right.
years? Are you going to be someone who can turn around and say, this company is something that I'm proud to be part of because of the authenticity and the integrity behind the company? So you can make a quick buck, but ultimately you could. And then there are people that do, and that's fine. That is their journey. But if you want something, and for people out there who are building that, you have to understand that we're shifting as we're shifting in consciousness and we're shifting in the world, the integrity and the inspiration and being kind to yourself, but also being in service to others. And this is
Yes.
why you're seeing the truths of so many things come to light, is because there's been this veil of deceit and lack of integrity, selling something for one price when really it's not worth that. And
Yeah.
you think about many of the indigenous cultures, there is not an exchange. There is an exchange, but it's an exchange of energy, or it's an exchange of
Right.
support, and everybody is helping and supporting. If you think of a small community, not a big city, but a small community, there is more connection within that community because everybody knows, they know Sandra and they know Tom and they know Bill, and they want to help you. But as we get bigger and bigger and bigger, we lose that connection,
Right.
and we tend to put those walls up. So back to your question, I think that moving forward, people who want to have that are going to really have to think about what's the legacy they want to live and how they want to show up. Yeah.
Thank you. Get down.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Well
beautiful.
said.
Raschell.
Well said. Well
you.
said. Well said. Well said.
So beautiful.
Because, I really like when they said be of service.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Those are the key words, be of service. And when you talk about community,
Mm-hmm.
if we really want to make a change in this world, we got to be of service.
Yes.
We have to be intentional in whatever we are doing. We have to be authentic in whatever we are doing. Because many times that is not what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
People these days, there is always an agenda.
Yes.
There is always an agenda behind things. It's not real. It is not real. So we are the game changers, because when we show up, we're going to be authentic. We're going to become to be of service. We are here to help. And once you do that, you change the whole game. Some people may not like that when you're being authentic, because they're accustomed to the wishy-washy business. And when you be authentic, they got a problem with it, But you stand in your power.
Mm-hmm.
You be true to yourself, because you have a choice.
You
Right,
always have a choice.
That's right.
Right, Lady J?
Yeah.
Always have a choice. And living a life of service, living in life of alignment, that is super important, because when you align and you live the life of service, because I think Will and I spoke about that a few weeks ago, where there is a level of happiness. Because when you live a life of service, it's reciprocated. There is happiness, there is joy, because when you're serving others and you can see the happiness and the joy that is the result of you serving, there is happiness in your heart. You feel great about it. And then you're making somebody else feel good about themselves. You're bringing joy to their lives. You're helping them to live a fulfilled life. So, I mean, it's truly super in those moments when you can experience that, living the life of service, but then you are aligned to whatever is it that you're serving. You're
Mhm.
moving in that level of alignment. So you're walking in your purpose in that moment simultaneously too. And so that is how change happens.
Yes.
It
Yes.
does.
Well said. Well said.
Very well said.
And serve without expecting.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yes.
Serve
Mhm.
That is
without
that is so good.
expecting.
Don't
Do
expect
not
anything in
expect
No,
return.
anything.
No.
Do not
no
serve
expect.
without expecting. Because many times that's where we get caught up, you know.
Exactly. That's what
There
I was
is
about to
where the
say.
caught up happen because we are serving, expecting something in an exchange in return. You know, when we show up, just be of service. Just be of do not expect anything. Be open when you're being of service. Just be open. You're showing up to serve. We come here every week. We show up is to be of service. We're not expecting anything from no one.
Hmm.
We allow the divine to carve our path. We are not carving it. The divine is carving our path. The divine bring the right kind of people in this space so they can enrich you, the audience, and give you the right food that you need to consume. It may not be the food that you want to eat, but you need to consume it. Because when you consume the food, you're able to change your internal structure.
That's right.
And changing the internal structure is the choice you have to make for yourself.
Exactly.
Right. And I think also as we help and we serve and we all of us do, we're planting great seeds,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And as we plant seeds, the universe has a way in supporting us,
Absolutely.
and it will return
Absolutely.
as we continue to help and serve others and live the life of service while we are living in this universe. It's a great conversation.
It is. It is. It is.
Rachel,
And
you have to come back for part two.
yes, you
Sorry.
got to do
Sorry,
part
Lady
two.
J.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, we're all connected, right?
Yes,
We're all
yes.
Yes.
connected. When you think of someone
Yes.
and you're thinking real deep, that person goes, yeah, you came into my thoughts. We are all connected as souls.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so being in service, as Karen said, and you, Lady J, said, it's important because it does affect the collective. It affects everybody. So, you know,
Thank you for
there's
being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me share some of my thoughts and
Yes.
some of my journey. So, thank you so much.
Yes.
If
It,
there is
it,
one, no, sorry, you go. You go.
it was a good choice to be here.
Yeah,
Huh?
It was.
I
Well,
was gonna say, what word or what sentence would you leave with the audience when they're watching us live and catching it on the replay? What is the one word or what sentence you would give them to make a choice that they can incorporate today in their daily lives?
Hmm, one word. Hmm. Outside of the word of choice, I would have to say empowerment.
Mm,
Empower yourself.
that's a good one.
Yes.
Empower yourself because no one else will empower yourself.
True.
I can
Absolutely.
No, nobody will. And love yourself too.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's
Quickly
it.
before you go, can you tell us about your books? Where they can shop
Absolutely.
it?
Yeah, absolutely. So my books are located on Amazon on Raschell Harlington. So the one there's two books that I did on. Two were called anthologies, which is the Now What. So that was going through a lot of transitions in my life at the time that I was part of that, and it was like, now this has happened. Now what? Now what's the next step? What's the next part of your journey? And then the other one, the anthology, was Addicted to Bliss. And that was, again, about understanding what was blissful in your life and what are you addicted to, in a sense, and what can you let go of. The other
Oh,
two books,
Nice,
the
nice.
other two,
that's a
thank
big
you.
one.
Like the let go.
Yes, letting go. The very first one that I wrote by myself, which was self-published back in 2019, was Your Prosperity Blueprint. And that was something I had wanted to write for years because it was a little bit, it's a very short read of my journey, my life, where I started in the UK, how I traversed through a lot of my family's travels, the cultural differences that I saw in different parts of the world, in North Africa, New Zealand, Brunei, and how, as a child, I had started to form blueprints on how I was supposed to act and how I was supposed to show up. And at the book basically helps you understand that you can let that all go, that they are just paradigms and social
Yes.
constructs, and that none of it is yours, that you have to own, and that you can rewrite that blueprint at any time that you choose. And the final book was a collaboration called The Journey of Transformation. And this book was a beautiful collaboration between Dina Fortune and Lily Lee, who I did not know before we wrote the book. In 2019, I had gone through a bit of a dramatic part of my life and would wake up at probably 3 or 4 in the morning, and I would start to write these messages that just in this little book, but I couldn't, they were not really my words. Like, I didn't speak like that, right? So I just would keep writing them and writing them 3, 4 in the morning. Then I go back to sleep, and they sat in this little book from 2019 until 2023 when I met Dina. And Dina is a beautiful artist who infuses her artwork with angelic codes. So we met and we started to match my messages with her artwork. And we realized that she had painted half of those paintings in 2019, the same time I had channeled these messages. So we brought them together, and Lily Lee had put in some beautiful messages on self-confidence and self-empowerment into the book. So when you look at the book, it is a beautiful, simple message embodied with a beautiful piece of artwork that together give you hope as to what you can do, your self beliefs, your validation, how you feel about life. So it's called The Journey of Transformation Through the Art of Words and Codes. So those are my
Amazing.
Wow.
books. Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Truly amazing.
Wow.
If I may ask one more question of Rochelle, ladies.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
Uh,
Take the floor.
okay.
You got a choice.
Oh, okay. Well, here it is. I know you mentioned something. You mentioned abundance, right? And
I'm
here's the thing
sorry.
that people. You mentioned abundance.
You,
Y-
Abundance. Yes.
Yes. Can you
Hmm.
still hear me? Okay. So here's the thing about abundance that people don't get. Everybody has abundance available to them. But
So
what
true.
they miss out on is you
So
have to
true.
believe that whatever you're trying to have that abundance in, it already exists, which it actually does already exist, but they don't know that. That's where they
So
get lost at. And see, all these people that's running around with their religion, they read the Bible and the Quran and all these other religious books, they don't understand what they're reading. And so they're listening to people that put themselves in the middle of that connection, right?
yes.
And misled
Yes.
them. Because in that book, it'll tell you that you are a God. Okay? God tells you itself that you are the God. Okay? Now, here's the thing with abundance. When you manifest whatever it is you want, if you don't already have the belief that you love you enough to have that, you
Yes.
cannot have that. So
Yes.
that's why people can't have what they want because they
Yes.
don't love themselves the way they claim
True.
they do.
True.
They
True.
like
True.
to
True.
say it, but if you actually believe that you love yourself like that unconditionally, whatever you want, abundance will come to you. It will flow like water. And this is the thing that people miss out on. So I'm glad you brought that up. And my timing is coming in on the show right now. I came in a little early, so I wasn't supposed to actually be here. But then again, this is why I was supposed to be here.
Time
So
man is everything.
exactly.
Joyce,
So there you go.
Joyce, yes.
So
No, I love that. And it's
so
so
I,
true.
yes,
what I'd like for you to do is elaborate a little bit more on abundance, because especially women, you know, I go to bat for men as well, but I always speak this. I love to see women win at whatever it is they decide they want to get into. And as for a man, if you have a good woman who already knows all that she is and who she is, then she can carry the air for you at that point. Because when your wings are tired and you're feeling like just floating, if you watch a flock of birds when they flying, whichever one is in the front, when he gets
Yes.
tired, he goes to the back and another one comes to the front and
yes,
carry them on
Wow.
to where they're going
Yes.
until another.
yes,
They
Wow.
keep on doing that. People think it's that one. It's not one leader. A leader
No.
is spread among many, and that's what leadership is. I think people
Mm-hmm.
have gotten caught up in the personality, and they think that one individual, because we've given them a title as a leader, is all you need. But leadership is actually a bucket of people joined together, and that's what makes the leader looks like it does. You know, leadership looks like it does because you have an abundance of people that feed into that, and it's a pyramid. See, so talk to us a little bit about that. I mean, I know you getting ready to go, but I would, you know, if the ladies want to keep you here, you got the time to
Yeah,
stay.
I have a few minutes. So you
Okay,
want me to talk to you about abundance? Is that
yes, let's talk about
Well,
it.
I think you did hit the nail on the head at the beginning. And this is something I taught for years is that, when people would say, well, my life, one of my clients is like, my life is not in abundance. I'm going through a divorce. I have nothing. I'm going to lose the house. I'm going to do this. And I remember sitting there and saying to her, do you have a bed that you sleep in? She said, well, yeah, of course. I said, do you have a nice white soft pillow? She said, well, yeah, of course. I said, okay, so there's two things that you have that there are many people in the world
don't
that do
have.
not have. They don't have a bed. They don't have a pillow. And you have a roof over your head with warm, cool air coming in. She said, yes. I said, so right there, you have so much abundance. People look outside because they want something over there, but they forget that you have to be grateful for what you already have.
Wow.
And even in my own life, I know for myself, when I was transitioning from one business to the current business, I kept having this thing of like, oh, can I do this? I don't want to do this. But then I had to sit and think, I'm really abundant where I am already. And I've built this first business so successfully I'm already there. And if I'm slightly transitioning over there, then that means more abundance. But I have to be grateful for what I have. Thankful for the food in my fridge. Thankful that I wake up every morning and
Yes,
I can
yes,
breathe and I
yes,
have my legs. If you start so small, and I think I
Amen.
said it earlier, you know, if you have an animal or you don't have an animal, just picking up that dog or that cat and just being in that moment of gratitude that you have the moment to love something or your child or your significant other, but taking that moment, it's like that vibration goes out
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it
yes,
just gives you. That's why when you give to someone, this is why I will just, people will give money sometimes to homeless people or stuff, or they'll say, no, I don't want to give them money because I don't want them. And I said, but it's not your choice. What they
Mhm.
choose to do with the money is their
Ab-
choice. It's not yours.
So true. So
Right?
true.
absolutely.
So
So I will purposely place the money in their hand and say,
Yes,
I hope this helps. And I let go because it's not my choice anymore. But I give that.
absolutely,
I give that. And then I know that abundance will come back because I
absolutely.
genuinely feel it. So if you are doing little small deeds every day, you are in a place of gratitude where you're thankful that you have a warm meal in your belly and a hot cup of liquid going, in the morning, and you have a soft bed to sleep in, just starting there is the first and foremost part that you can already start to shift your reality, shift your abundance, and shift your how you see yourself as being successful in life. So that is my tip.
that.
Thank you, thank you, thank
Wow. Wow. We well. Thank you for making a choice to answer questions
you.
because no, that was beautiful. That was beautifully said, and I know people are going to be grateful to hear that because
Look,
making that choice and making it from small things, small increments, level of gratitude, giving, serving, It starts with a choice of being small in a small space, saying small things, doing small things, and you build from that and build. It's a ripple effect. It's like you throwing a pebble in a pond and it ripple right out.
Yes.
Wow. Well said. Well
Thank
said.
you.
Listening to you, what came to mind immediately? People just like to complain. You
Yes.
know,
Hmm.
people find joy in just waking up every day and complaining, just
Yeah,
complaining all the time,
they do.
and not knowing that whenever you chose to be complaining all the time, that is what you're attracting to yourself. And then when you're complaining and then you say nothing ain't changing, it can't change because
No,
you entertaining that energy, you're giving that energy, that fuel every single day. When you get
absolutely.
off your bed, you just keep complaining about money, complaining about this, complaining about that. You're fueling that all the time. So when you put the
Absolutely.
fuel into that, that is what gonna generate back to you. But a
Emotion.
lot
Absolutely.
of people don't realize that is what is happening. This thing is so simple,
It is.
Yeah,
we make it so complex.
yes,
Yep.
It is
But
simple.
but that is why mindset is the key.
yes,
Yep. 100%.
Mindset is the key
yes.
because
Little baby steps.
yeah, little
Yes,
baby steps.
Absolutely, absolutely. Take
yes,
what Karen just said. In the Bible, there's a scripture that tells you to he who has more will be given, and to he
yes,
who has less, it will be
yes.
taken away.
Hmm.
She just
Absolutely.
spoke to you what that actually means. Okay, people that, well, first of all, they don't read, but but they don't understand. If Karen just told you, if you're in that frequency, now you are on the line to attract to you what it is that you want. More of it
Absolutely.
is going to come because you're starting from a place that, like Rochelle said, you you have it. Okay, it may not be much, but you're being appreciative to where you are
True.
already. Once
Hmm.
you accept that frequency, now your frequency can grow and it'll start attracting more
Right.
to
Right.
you. That's how you get this
Absolutely.
stuff. This is
Hmm.
not, like you said, Karen. It's not complicated, but people make it
Yeah, they're
complicated.
making it complicated. They're making it because you know why? They don't believe in themselves.
There
Self
you go.
awareness.
Choice.
Self
There
They
you go.
awareness.
true.
Right.
They're
Right.
allowing the outside constructive influences
Right.
to
Yeah.
direct and steer their life. They are not taking the wheel to steer their own life themselves, and
Hmm.
that is the problem that other people are facing.
But
Absolutely.
sometimes we also have to think about people are coming from different spaces.
They
People are
are.
coming
They are.
from different space. So
But they got a choice.
but that is why it's important that
They do.
but that is why
They
it's
do.
important. Grace is important to give.
Yes.
Grace, love, and compassion, and
Right.
surrounding yourself with the right kind of people who can help you, as the word that Rachel gave, empowerment,
Right.
empower you, support you, that can help you to guide you along so
True.
that you can rise to the level with that level of vibration and to move you on to get to the space where you can start to think abundance, less scarcity, and move forward, that you can live a life of fulfillment and enjoy everything that you're aspiring for. So,
Absolutely right.
Okay. Okay.
it's important for us to show the level of grace,
Yes.
Absolutely. But see,
Yes.
love, and compassion.
exactly. So now, so you just opened another door that we're gonna have to go through because you mentioned that powerful word scarcity. Okay, that's what stops people from accepting that abundance can be theirs too, because they live in that mindset of I don't have. How can I possibly get? And so that interferes with the frequency of I have, I'm capable of having, I can have. It interferes with that because now they're sitting in church somewhere praying for this instead of actually already knowing that they can actually achieve
Mhm.
this. They can have it. So they're begging and praying that please let me have, please, it's not going to come because as you just mentioned, Lady J, they're in the mindset of scarcity. And
Mhm.
as you just also mentioned, in order to get beyond that scarcity, that comes with self-love. Because
Yes.
here's the thing, if you're in a mindset of scarcity, then you can't possibly love yourself like
True.
you proclaim to be. Okay,
Mhm.
you can't have both of those things. They can't exist
No.
simultaneous. That's not
Mhm.
happening. So if you say that you love you, and then, well, I don't know how I'm gonna, I can't do that. That's scarcity. So you cannot achieve it. There's no way that frequency is then going to come to you and carry you beyond to where you can start meeting the people and events that will make it happen for you. It can't happen for you
Sure.
No,
because you're stuck in that mindset of
it's true.
scarcity. So you don't
True.
unconditionally love you. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
See, so yeah, that's very good that you brought that up. See, so we just expanded to what you just said a little bit, but see, here's something too. That I want to say this while everybody's watching this, because when we talk, the three of us, and Rochelle is back. I'm glad to see her back on screen now. But when we're talking, and you ladies are good at doing this. When you say something, you are doing just like what Scripture does. You say, okay, this is what's written, but what does this actually mean? So you're taking people in between those lines, and that's what people get scared at, because
Yeah.
at that point, once you ladies start opening up that gray area, people are like, "Whoa, I don't think I want to go there. That's too much information for me. I just
Mm-hmm.
like my little world to stay simple, where it stays where if I want to have scarcity and complain about it, which you said, Kara, then I can stay in that world and complain about it. I can't have this. They doing that to me. Everybody's picking on me. No, no, no. Once you actually take that step into that energy pattern there and ride it, and you eliminate the scarcity emotion, and you start believing that you have, it now becomes possible for you to have that. Just make it
Absolutely.
make sense. That the things that you want, make it make sense. Don't just be asking for $1 billion and if you don't know what to do with $1 billion.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
so ask for something that you know that you absolutely, as Rochelle was mentioning earlier, need, that will solve a problem. And
Yeah.
then you can have what it is that you're actually asking. At that point, it will come to you. People will come to you to help make that happen. And so,
Love that.
yeah, you guys are having a great conversation. You haven't
Yeah.
even moved me on the show.
I
This is
do have
good.
to pop off though. I'm
Right.
so sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. You guys are amazing. And I would love to come back for a part two and continue this incredible conversation. Thank you so much to your audience.
Yeah,
Take
thank
Thank
care.
you
you.
so
Thank
much,
you,
Rachel,
Rasha.
for being a part of this space this evening. We love
You're
you, girl. Thank you.
Love
okay.
you.
Bye.
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 All right.
That was
Now,
a great
Will, you stuck
conversation.
with us.
All right. That's good.
You
That's
made the
good.
choice.
I did. I did. I did. I did. I did.
That was a
Now,
great conversation.
Yeah.
yeah, I thank you guys for bringing me up at the back end of her show there, that the show that you were doing, Rachel, there, because we just covered some things that somebody
People
somewhere
need to
needs to hear.
hear.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to hear that. And
Yes.
so you guys aligned this to where it worked out to where I came into the show at the right time because it was arranged that way. And then you guys opened the door to say, okay, now you're knocking, come on in. And I'm prepared to come through the door. So
Yes.
that was good. That was good. I'm glad I
That
had a chance
it
to
was
talk.
really really good.
Yeah.
But I just want to say this, that you touched on something there when we asking, and Rochelle touched on it too.
Right.
It must move with a level of emotion.
Yes.
It must
Yes.
move with emotion.
Yes.
It must.
Yes.
Must. That's a
Yes.
It's
big part
important.
of it.
Yes.
That's a big part of it.
And you see, when we're asking,
Mhm.
we got to put in the action.
There you go.
You know, we can be asking for something and don't put in the action for it.
That's right.
You know, we got to discipline ourselves. When you're asking for something, you got to discipline yourself with the action. The action is required.
It's definitely.
And
Inspired action.
exactly, inspired action, Joan. And
Yeah.
the thing is that when you put in the action, you're going to start to see results.
Yes.
Mhm.
You
You're
will.
going to start to see the results that you're looking for. Once you ask, put in the action, the results is going to come.
Okay.
Don't think about it.
But many times we're asking for something and we don't even believe what we are asking for. Your belief system is not there for what you're asking for.
Right.
It's wavered, you know.
Mhm.
So if you're asking for something and you're going like a ping pong,
Yes.
you know,
It can't help.
it can't happen. It's
Can't
not gonna
help.
Mhm.
happen.
No.
You got to be steady when you asking
Yeah.
for something. You got to be steady for that ask. You know,
Huh?
you got to put in the action. You got to get up on the morning. You got to do what you got to do in the morning. You know, you got to put in that action, and you got to start putting in the action is working on yourself to attract what you're asking for. That's the action.
That's the action.
Working on yourself to attract what you're asking for. Because whatever you're asking for, you got to match what you're asking for.
Oh,
If you
wait
don't
a minute.
match,
Could you
go
repeat
ahead,
that
Bill.
again? Could you repeat that what you just said again, Kevin? Could you repeat that?
Whatever you're asking for, you got to match what you're asking for. Because if you don't match what you're asking for, it's it's nil. You're not going to get it.
Understood.
Absolutely. That is why people normally say this. I am doing this, but it's not happening for me. It cannot happen because you're not matching what you're saying. You got to
Oh,
believe in what you are saying. If you're going to say you're going to do this, you got to be honest with yourself. I am going to do this.
right.
We are human. Sometimes we will err, but self-awareness, once you realize that you are shifting into that old space, you got to bring yourself back into the new space where you want to see yourself. It is essential that self-awareness, it is very, very important, right, Will?
That's absolutely right. Oh, that was powerful
And
too.
the other thing too as well is that that is why grace is important,
Yeah.
because and acceptation and acknowledging, because as you move and you aspiring for greater things and you're asking, there will be self-doubt, but then you have to understand that the old patterns are dying off.
That's
But as
right.
you reaffirm the new and embrace the new and embody the new, that's how you move forward. But the old patterns will still be there, but with small increments. And I think that's what, as Raquel was speaking about, small increments, making that change on a daily basis over a period of time, the old patterns will move away, because you are now moving into a new level, new vibration, setting a new tone for your life and for whatever you're asking for, so that you can achieve that and be in a state of readiness, be in a state of preparation, so that you can embrace and match the moment when it finally arrives.
Absolutely right.
Oh, that
Well,
was good. That was good. Oh man, it was good.
we're going
Well,
to change things up now.
we're jumping into your
Yeah,
topic.
Let's go
yeah.
to relationship and closures.
Okay, okay.
That's
Well,
a
so
big
some
one.
of this is part of that, especially what Lady J just got through ending with. That's part of this. That's part of this. Yeah, when you talk about closing out old paradigms and relationships, as Lady J just said, you have to embrace what's coming, your future.
Hmm.
So
Yes,
aspects of you are moving into a new realm, you're moving into a new
Right.
direction, right? So you have to close out what has been. And that's what she just got through talking to you about. She just mentioned that as you move forward, you have to believe that what you want is actually accessible to you. Now, if you're still holding on to the past because you feel familiar and comfortable with that and you're
Hmm.
afraid, then you can't have both. You're going to be stuck. That's where people get lost at and think that like in a relationship, for instance, personal relationship, they think they need closure. You don't need that closure. You've had the closure. Your closure is you moving on to what you're supposed to be doing now. Whoa, not trying to figure out why they did whatever the other person did or didn't do or decided. That is over with at that point. And so, as Lady J mentioned, once you set your mindset right and it's in the proper perspective in the right spot, that will help align you with what Lady K was saying. Now your abundance will start aligning with your frequency as you start to move. You're moving into a new frequency, right? So as you move to that new energy, the old energy of whatever that relationship was, that's over. That's done. Because now you're going to go through a change. Now the other person probably is going through some type of a change as well, but it's not the same thing that you're going. And here's the thing that's going to make it key for you to understand that you have to be in alignment. If you're not, then you're going to worry about trying to continually get closure for something that is already put behind you. It's in the rearview mirror. And if you notice in a car, when you're traveling, if you look in the rearview mirror, whatever's behind you starts to get smaller and smaller the further you go ahead, right? It's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing as whatever that relationship was. It starts to get smaller as you start to really step into where you're going now. It has nothing to do with the other person. This is all about you. And so you have to love you enough. Again, truly love you, not say you love you. You have to truly love you. Once you truly love you, abundance and everything that's within the structure of abundance can now be yours. And as Lady J mentioned, grace. You have to have grace for yourself, the appreciation for what you established with this other person, what y'all, did together, the bond y'all may have had, the growth y'all may have had with one another. Now it's time for a new you. And as you step forward to this new you, it doesn't include the old them with the new you. The only way they can come back and stay even in your realm is they have to have made a shift in some sort of way that aligns with where you're going now. If they haven't made that shift, there's no way for you to bring them along with you. No matter what you're thinking, see, if you start getting too caught up in I really need this person, that means you don't love you enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you love you, as Lady J says all the time, leave that situation with love. So you
Yes.
leaving them with love, but you're now moving forward. And so you
Mm-hmm.
don't worry about whatever's going on with them, because you're going
True.
to be going into a new mix, and what's coming for you is going to be so much better than what you just came out of, because that's as far as you could go with that. Now it's time for you to step into a brand new realm. Okay, and this don't have anything to do with anybody else that you will meet moving forward, or anything like that. But if they're aligned with you, they're going to come into your life, and then you will see immediately that yes, this is the right person. I can get close to this person and build with them possibly. But if they're not in alignment with you, it won't work out at all. I'm gonna share this with the audience. I came out of a long-term relationship, right? Now, the person that I came out of that relationship with, they decided in 6 months that they were going to move on to try to, I guess, get me out of their system, right? So they ended up meeting somebody else, and then
You made a choice.
exactly, they made a choice. That and you're going to be able to say this really well here in a few minutes. Okay, they made that choice, and then 2 more months go by, and they decide, you know what? Let me marry this person so I can completely forget about it. They married this person. Now I'm still going through my healing process. I mean, until a year yet, right? So I'm going through my healing process. And with the structure of 8 months, they had met somebody, married them, and now in another 6 months, they were getting a divorce. But at that point, yeah, it was happening that fast. So at that point, I'm now healed
Mm-hmm.
because we've had a whole year go by now, and I'm focusing on me. I didn't ask them more questions of why you decide, why they decided they wanted to leave. I left all that alone. I started working on me because I was going somewhere else. I realized pretty quickly that, okay, that's as far as that person was supposed to go with me. So now I'm on my own now. So whatever's coming ahead of me, that's for me to move forward into that space. My energy was still right to where when I said I love me, I really did love me. So so it wasn't any doubt there about how I felt about myself, right? And so that aligned me with everything that I needed to do moving forward. As Karen said, you have to put action to it. So the things that I wanted to do moving forward, I was moving towards that in action. And so all that started to come back toward me, people, places, events, things started to happen to put me in alignment with what I was experiencing emotionally, as Lady J mentioned, right? And so that's what you have to do when you move in and out of these relationships. Is you even when you get into one with the right person, that's just a reflection of how much you love you. If you love you that deeply, the person that's sitting across from you is going to be a reflection of that love you have for yourself. As a matter of fact, it'll be so deep that when you look at them, it'll make you emotional because you know what that level of love is. You'll understand that that's you. You'll understand it. So it takes time to get to that point where people can love themselves to that level, but it's well worth the journey. If you can focus on you and get there, your life is going to improve so much more, and you will live in the abundance that the three of us are talking about now. And as Raschell mentioned this before she left, the abundance that you're wishing for, and you don't even have to wish for this, you can speak it, and then things will start to align to get you to that abundance that you say that you deserve. Because everything then is going to line up with that love energy frequency. And once it aligns with that, everything starts to flow. You get into a zone, and whatever you're trying to do, it's going to happen. Not to say that you won't have any issues, okay, because that's the way this world is set up. The life is, it works that way, but it will still come to you. So you're putting yourself in a position now where you will love someone else again, someone else across you. Like I said, you're basically seeing a reflection of yourself. So once you get to the level where you truly love you, that other person that you're looking for, you will see them. They will come to you. You know. So this is not, as Karen said earlier, this is not really that complicated. You just have to focus on you and understand, read between the lines, so to speak, as she was mentioning. Read between the lines and you'll see everything that you want. It'll come there. So this situation where we have, especially in the relationship, personal relationship aspect, we have people saying they can't find anybody. Men are not this, or the women are not that, or you got to have this if you come. No, all of that stuff revolves back to love. So in order for you to close out anything, whether it's a personal relationship, business, whatever it is, you have to do that from the standpoint of what Lady J likes to speak all the time. You have to lead in love, but you have to have that grace. So once you have that grace and that love combined, everything else is going to come to you and flow. It's going to work out just fine for you. Just go experience the pain. It comes with the pain when you leave somebody else behind like that. And sometimes those are family members too. So it's going to come with deep pain. But it's meant for you to move to something that's going to be much better for you. And if you can accept that pain and embrace it, now you can have whatever it is that you see in your mind, in your mind's eye. And but the pain aspect of it is what you ladies talk about all the time. That's what people, they don't want to deal with that part of it, ladies. I mean, it hurts, and they don't want any part of that, so they'll blame, put it off on everybody else. It's not me. I'm fine. It's them. If they would just, that kind of stuff, and that's that's going to keep you in the closure mindset, where you're going to always be waiting for an explanation of why. But if you move beyond that, abundance, grace, love, all of that embraces itself into one big ball of energy for you, and then you can have anything that you desire is going to be there, even the relationship that you really, really want. So that one person that you think that you'd be very happy with, remember it's going to be you. So that person will show up. They may be on the other side of the world right now, and you can't reach them because you're not on that frequency. So they can't come to you, but they may exist once you realize that you love you more than anybody else. That's the greatest love of all right there, is you loving yourself. And once you can embrace that, there's no end to who you meet and who can come into your life. As you ladies mentioned, choice, which it goes back to. Now you have to make a decision, because there's going to be more than one person that's going to be on that frequency, right? You're going to see more than just one you. And so as you start to see you in different places and different people, now you have to make a choice. Which one is the one right for this particular moment that you're in, this season, right? That you're in right now. Which one of these yous fit to where you're trying to go? That's going to be your biggest question to yourself that you have to have. And if you make the right choice at the moment, the world is yours. You can have whatever it is. But people get caught up on this closure thing to where they don't know how to close business. They don't know how to close, personal relationships. They don't know how to close. I need to move from this situation to that. All of that, they fail. But again, the only reason that you're having these issues is because you don't have enough self love. You don't love you the way you proclaim that you do. Because these two ladies will tell you, once you can fully accept you unconditionally, intimacy is within your heart. And the person that's going to come to you is going to be very intimate with you. So the things that you want to speak, you'll be able to say it to them without any hesitation, and it won't hurt their feelings. and you'll feel safe that you can say that to them too, because they won't betray that on you, because remember, it's you that you're speaking to. So if you can do that, yeah, the world it's a great place to be. Now it's complicated. It has all kind of ups and downs and twists and turns and all that good stuff too. But when we're
Yes.
talking about closing out relationship aspects of it, yeah, you have to love you in order to close out a relationship. If you do, you don't need something from anybody else to explain to you the what, why, how they did it. That yeah, you thought that they really did. You don't have to cure any of that. You just accept it for what it is, and you will pack your bags, and you and your bags are going to move forward without a problem. You won't be looking back over your shoulder saying, "What if I did this or did that or did this or did?" You won't even worry about that, because that's going to be less important to you, because you're going into
True.
a new, yeah, you're moving into a new realm, new
True.
dimension, and so they won't even exist in your world
True.
anymore. Now, not to
True.
say that they won't be keeping tabs on you, because they will be, but you won't be doing it to them though, because once you start to move
Right.
forward like that, you won't be interested in what's going on with them like that. You just won't have that interest. And so, like I mentioned, that the person I had the long term relationship with, got married within a year to somebody that ended up getting divorced, within that same year. Uh, they kept tabs to where they were sending me messages for me to understand what they were doing, right? And so that's how I knew so much about the new guy and the marriage in 8 months. And, that was supposed to hurt me, but it didn't, because my focus at that point was on me moving forward. So
Mhm.
that was doing nothing to me. It was like, you can't hurt me any more than you already have. I'm out of that situation. I'm moving forward. So whatever you're doing, your stuff. And so, as they say, karma comes around. It makes a full circle. So, that's the way it goes sometimes. So you don't need somebody to tell you that you're okay. You need to tell yourself that you're okay. All right. Once you can do that, the grace that Lady J talks about, and the you know leaving with love that Lady J talks about, all of that becomes part of who you are moving forward. And then the action that Karen talks about, you'll embrace that aspect of it too, and then you'll put it all into one big ball, and you'll just roll along. You jump on that ball and start riding. And so life will get much better for you. And like I said, it's painful, but at the same time, this is something that women sort of get caught up into. Men sort of, they don't share this kind of stuff because they like to keep it to themselves. But they will jump around like that too. But the worst thing that you can possibly do for yourself at the closure of one is to jump into it, and another one saying, "Okay, I'll just go over here," and that immediately get my mind off of this person, and I'll show them I can do much better.
Mhm.
No, you can't. You have to
Mhm.
heal, because you've tied yourself in. There's a binding that takes place in a relationship, so you're binded to them to a degree. So you have to be able to take enough time to unbind yourself. You when you talk about binding, everything has some type of a binding to it. And that's the thing that you don't understand, because you're looking from a materials perspective. But this world is spiritual, more so than you ever would think or believe that it is. But the people who, like ourselves, like the three of us here, we're all spiritual. And so from that perspective, we see the world different from the material aspect of it. So you have to understand that everything that you encounter, it may be physical, but there's a spiritual component to that as well. And once you understand that, now you function from a different perspective. You see the world from a different. You even see people from a different perspective. And so you just won't bind yourself to just anybody, because that they don't benefit from it for one thing. They think they do, but the energy that's coming off of you, they can't. They don't know what to do with that. It
True.
overwhelms them. They're happy just to be around you, because they know it's something different about you, and they'll speak it. There's something different about you. You're not like anybody else I've ever met. We've all heard that, and you're not. That's because you're at a different level than they are. So they're coming into your world. So they are coming to where you're bringing them to level them up. They're not going to do that for you now. But as Lady K said, it's the small things. So what you start to pick up on for them are those small things that you may have been slipping on. you'll start to see that like, okay, that's something I need to think about and work on right there. They'll bring that to your attention. And then if you're focused, you will actually start working on that little thing. Because that little thing will then turn into a bigger thing that will be abundant for you as you keep continue to move. And once you do that, world becomes less complicated. Even your relationships become less complicated. So you don't have to spend a whole lot of time mixed in drama or confusion and chaos and all the other things of a bad relationship. You don't deal with any of that. Your relationship then is peaceful. Men and women both want peace in a relationship.
Sure.
So if you run across the person that's reflective of you, you're gonna get that peace. You're gonna find that peace. You'll find it. And you won't believe what a relationship of peacefulness is really like. People come out of so much turmoil and trauma that when they get into a peaceful relationship, and you hear this all the time, they're boring. Oh, I don't know how I'm gonna stick with this person. They are so boring. That's because it's peace. You don't have any chaos going on around you. You don't have to look over your shoulder and wonder if they doing something that you think that they might be doing or anything. You don't have all that. So people are not used to having that kind of peace in their life. They can't accept that, so they'll separate from you. But again, people who love themselves don't tie themselves up into those type of relationships. They'll be cordial with them and they'll even engage with them, but not to the point where you can tie them into a relationship.
Sure.
Relationship. They know that it's not a place they can be.
Sure.
So they won't.
Sure.
And so, one of the other aspects of closure is, especially in the personal relationship, people sometimes will want to, well, why don't we meet for dinner one last time and we can do a little squeaky, Yeah, they can try to sneak a little squeaky in there. Say, okay, just something for the road, That's bad. That's bad.
Bad.
Exactly, because that's an exchange that takes place in that, right? So anytime you engage in a physical contact with somebody, that's an exchange. And so you're still tying yourself to somebody that's not good for you, and you don't want to do that. You do not want to do that. That's bad. That's really bad. So don't have that last dinner, and especially don't have the squeaky going on. Just close it out and move. Run if you have to. If you picture yourself right now, take this picture and put it in your mind's eye and see yourself running. You may not have even taken, you may have ran since middle school, but see yourself running. Like it's pouring down rain and you don't want to get that wet. Picture yourself running as fast as you can away from that situation. You see it, don't you? I know you do. You can see that. Yeah. So don't involve yourself in that. Yeah.
No, but it's facts. It's the truth.
That's
It is the truth.
Yeah.
Well,
So you're saying no conversation, no one last time dinner, nothing
no
beyond that.
quickies.
No,
Hey, no squeaky.
no.
Squeaky.
The point is, I think that really ties into the first half of the show because
Yeah.
the power of choice.
Yes, that choice.
You made this the decision is being made that we no longer going to be being in a relationship together. So you
Right.
make the power choice, you stand firm in that. I'm moving forward in my direction, you're moving forward in your direction. That's the choice we're making, and that's final. There's a level of clarity in that discussion, and so that there is where it is.
Right.
We both moving forward in our own new path, our own newness. And so once that is clear, I think that it has to be clear because there
Yeah.
is no going back of a last conversation, there a last dinner or anything because we clear it's very definitive. We are moving forward in our own path. Clear as crystal.
Yeah, but the, the thing is, is that why people get caught up is that remember the person that you was dealing with know you. They know your weakness.
Right.
They know your weak point. So if you're making that choice to move on with your life, you have got to make sure that you fuel yourself up enough. Your self-talk got to be strong, your choice of words strong, your boundaries strong. You've got to make sure all of those things are in
Yes.
She's frozen. Yeah, so you have to be firm about it, and that is why it's great when you spoke about your self-love, because you have to love yourself enough.
Have
You
to.
have to have the self-awareness, self-love, self-discovery, because you know that I'm embarking on a new journey right now. And
Right.
so there's no entertainment for anything else, because we already made that choice. We already
Mhm.
made a decision. We already put closure to the end. But I think sometimes also what happens, emotion get involved. And when the emotion is involved, then we're thinking about a lot of things outside of that decision making. But then you have to be real firm about it. You draw the line. This is where we are, and I'm going to be
yes.
moving forward. And I'm moving in a different direction, whatever that next might be. Sometimes you don't know what your next is.
Yeah, you don't know.
You don't know what your next is, but you know that you're not there anymore because you already made that choice.
And it's going back, many times we just go back to the familiar,
That's what
you
it is.
know.
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
go back to that familiar space.
That's what data supports what you just said there, Karen. I did a article about this 6 or 8 months ago, and people, according to the data, will rather when they get into a situation that's moving forward, if something or someone shows up that reminds them of what they're familiar with, that's where they go.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So,
yes.
so no matter whether it's business or personal or whatever it may be, if it reminds them of the time where they are most comfortable, then
Hmm.
that's. And so a lot of times when you see couples, for instance, you're like, how in the hell did that? How did they get together? That don't make any sense. But that's how why it makes sense because one of them are more familiar with a person like that other person, and
Right.
so that made them feel comfortable that they could jump into that type of situation. And so that's
And
why they end up like that.
another thing too, Will, is as you write, is what they're carrying around with that, attracting that to
Exactly.
themselves.
Hmm.
You know,
Exactly.
if you're looking to attract a different person in your life, you've got to become that person
You got
first.
to be different. Exactly.
If you
You
want
can't.
to
You
attract
can't.
a different type of person, you've got to prepare yourself for
That's
that
right.
person who you want to attract in your life. It
Yes.
starts with you,
It starts with you.
the choice.
That, but
Yeah.
that is why mindset is so important.
Hmm.
Mindset is so important because it's making the decision and making the choice. If your mindset is fixed and you don't have a growth mindset, it's hard to evolve.
Yes.
It's
Evolve.
hard to
Yeah.
evolve
Look,
It's hard to evolve.
because you're not able to let new things in, have a
No.
broader insight,
yeah.
of the way how life works and what the endless possibilities can be for you, because your
Yes.
mindset is so fixed. You're in a space of complacency. You feel comfortable, you're in the comfort zone, so you don't even know what is out there for you.
That's
So
right.
that's why you stay within the familiar. It
Yes.
feels good. Sometimes it might be toxic, sometimes it's not good for you,
Yeah.
Right.
right? It's not good for your well-being, but because you feel so comfortable, because your mind your that level of mindset is so
Absolutely.
fixed, right?
Absolutely.
Limited belief.
We're hitting all the camera spots today. I'm telling you, ladies, man. We're hitting them.
Limited beliefs. So then
Oh my
you
God.
want you may say you want closure, but you don't want closure.
You don't. Exactly.
You don't.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
Exactly.
say you want
Exactly, Lady K.
closure. You might be tired of the situation. You might be thinking, I don't want to stay here anymore, but
Right.
because of this, as we said before, because it's comfortable, you want more, you want better, but then so it's a double situation you're dealing with.
It
But
is.
when you can have the growth mindset, then you can really parcel out and say, you know what, yes, I'm aspiring for more. What do I do? Whether
Right.
you talk to a coach, whether you talk to a therapist, whatever that may be for
Whatever it
you,
is. Yeah.
so that you can able to lift yourself up from the space you're in and move forward, which broader insights, more level of clarity. You can be clear. This is what I'm going to, and then you can't doubt or second guess or overthink, because you want to be very decisive. There is where we tie back into the power choice, because then you're going to make that decision, and then you're going to move forward, because you want to live your true essential self. You want the best. You want to find love again. You want to live a fulfilled life. You want to find that level of bliss. You're going to move forward. But again, you have to have the right level of mindset.
Yes,
Oh, this was good.
yes, yes, yes.
This was
Hey,
such a good conversation.
hey, can I let the audience in on something real quick, if you ladies
Sure,
don't mind?
you
Okay.
have
Yeah,
the choice.
you have.
All right. All right, audience. Here's a secret here. Okay. The three of us, when we get together, these are the kind of conversations we have in depth off camera. So what you're getting a chance to witness and ride along with us is the kind of conversations that we have away from this screen here, where you are part of this, watching us have this conversation. And so when you get the three of us in one, and we're not even in the same room having these conversations, we're across the country talking to each other,
Right.
but it feels like we're all sitting in the same room with different
Yes.
cameras sitting on us, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so that's what this show is all about. It will bring you between the lines, gray areas. These ladies touch on that kind of stuff. And so when you come and watch these shows that they produce, the guests are being bought on this show to give you the gray area. That they don't want you to have
Yes.
the surface stuff. They want you to go beyond that. So that's why they push.
Yes.
And so when you come on the show to be a guest, you better be prepared, because they're going to open up the doors. And when they pull the page back on a book, you have to have the writing correct. You have to be right. So if you want to be a guest on this show, I'm just giving you a heads up. Don't come to the show unless you're a strong person and really believe in what you are saying, because they will eat you up if you're not. And so they want people like that to come on the show. So I want you to come be a part of this. Okay, I really do. I want you to come on this show. Get in touch with these ladies to be a guest on the show, because you have a topic that you think that they need to cover. So I'm just letting you know, when you come prepared to actually do a show. That's what I'm going to tell you. So, and I don't mean just the what you have written in your book or whatever it is that you're doing. I mean the areas behind those lines that you've written. That's what they want. That's what they want you to share with the audience that's watching them and follows them. They want to
Yes.
open you up to connect with them on a personal
Right.
level, to where it's
Yes.
really deep and profound, to where they can connect and say, I got something from that show. They want to bring value to you. This is not
Right.
a show where you're just coming on just to have a mouthpiece and for an hour or so you're entertained. This is not an entertainment show. This is
No.
a show that's going to feed you and nourish you, as they like to say
Mhm.
all the time. And so that's why you watch this show. You're looking for something like that. You're not just watching this for entertainment. People that are watching us now, you're watching because they leave you with something. They touch spots that you want to have discussed, that you want. You're like, I feel like this. I wonder if there's anybody else out there. They present it to you. You see it, so you get to be a part of the show because they're speaking for you. So
Yes.
come and be a guest on the show. I'm giving you an invitation, and I'm sure they would be happy to entertain you as a guest on the show, to have you come here. So come in and be a guest. If I happen to be part of a panel that you're on or something like that, I implore you to come and be a part of the show. Definitely. So that's what I wanted to say. Just wanted to pull the curtain back a little bit and let people know that you ladies, when y'all do this show, well, we have, like, when the three of us get together, we're having fun and just having a conversation, because that's how we present ourselves. This is just a conversation we're having, right? But it's
Right.
on a topic that you need to, you wanted some background on. And we're pulling the pages open to where when you read it, you said, okay, it meant this. But I just shared some stuff with you behind the scenes of my own personal relationship that I shared with you. So that's the kind of stuff that these ladies are trying to get to the guests and the audience, to open up and just be, as Lady K likes to say, authentic. That's what they're looking for.
Yes.
That's what this show stands for. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you for saying that, Will.
Mhm.
So
Whilst you were saying
Thank you.
that, that is why the master class that Joan and I gonna have, when
that
you
works.
leave that master class, we're going to guarantee you will never be the same. You will never be the same because it's going to be a transformational experience for you. We're going to help you to motivate you, to enrich you, and help you to take that bold step to transform your life. That's it.
That's
Lady J?
enough.
Wow. I mean, the entirety of this show this evening with Raschell and Will, so profound because it's true enlightenment and so many pointers and so many things that were touched on, from self-love, self-care, knowing who you are, embrace your sovereignty, and all of that stuff, and talking about abundance and removing scarcity from your life and speaking it out. And then not only speaking it out, as Rachel and Will, you spoke about as well, you got to
Yeah.
speak with emotion, and it must be lined up, it must be matched. When you move in the level of alignment, we talk about living a life of service. How are you serving? What are you doing? How are you living your life on a daily basis? Right? Are you spreading joy and happiness and owning your power? And I mean, the list goes on.
Oh,
So what happened in this conversation tonight, and as you spoke about closure, well, and not hanging on, and when you're letting go, let go and just move. Don't worry about the one last dinner and nothing else.
right.
You make it, you define this, and we conclude in this relationship. There is nothing else for us to do, because what we came together, we built a life together, we accomplished what was needed to be accomplished, but it's a necessary ending at this point in time. And we both are good because we're releasing it with love. You did what you did, I did what we did. Be good enough, and we are different people in our lives at this point in time. And we're just moving forward to be our next, to evolve, to be better. And so much came out of this discussion tonight, which we always like to say, when we get such a good discussion, we got to do part two. And because it is so good, 2 hours is not enough to really fill everything that we are expanding on. But it's just a, what you want to see, a teaser, just to open the door to have a discussion and talk about things and make people think, well, I might be
Agreed.
going through something, and I'm leaving my relationship. And yes, bad might have happened in the relationship, but I'm loving myself. I'm choosing, I'm making the choice to love myself, and I'm going to move forward for my next. I might not know what my next is, but in the meantime, I'm going to focus on loving me. I'm going to choose me. So I'm full enough. So whenever, whatever my next is, or whatever my next show up to be, I'm well whole, I'm balanced, I'm centered, I'm really focused, so I can really embody what my next may be for me. So it was a great discussion. We know the audience got a lot to take away, a lot to think about. And so we just want to thank you for your time. Will, we want to thank you for your time being here.
Thank you.
Rachel, we thank her for her time as well. And we want to thank the audience. You taking your time for these 2 hours, sitting with us, your comments, and what you might be thinking, and what you now may take with you after this moment in your life, and what you're sharing with your friends, and you're encouraging them to subscribe. It's beautiful because that's how we all empower, we uplift. We want everyone to do well. We want to be all, we want to continue to live our true essential self and move in that level of alignment. Because living a life of alignment is how you can go after that level of abundance. You can achieve everything that you want to do and be true to yourself. So
Absolutely.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lady J, for those beautiful
Oh,
words.
that's powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for those beautiful
Thank you.
words. Well, we just
I
want to thank you.
yeah. That's
Go
all
ahead, Will.
all I was gonna say is that was very well put, Lady J, because she just talked to the subconscious. So she put that message in this. Everybody's just listen to this. She just talked to your subconscious, and now that message is implanted. So that will move forward, Lady J. It will move forward. There are going to be some people that what you just said now and see the light. They can see the
Yes.
light. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
that's all I want to say.
Thank you. We all are helping people to see the light.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Thank you.
We're just living the life of service.
Yeah.
That's true.
Living the life of service. And the beautiful thing is that you've got to prepare yourself for what you want to attract in your life. Prepare yourself for what you want to attract. And once you can do that, you will start to see evolution because you're taking yourself to a higher frequency level.
Mhm.
And don't allow anyone to distract you from your beliefs. Don't allow anyone to put self doubts on you that you start to doubt yourself, that you're not good enough, you're not worthy of what you're asking for. Believe in yourself. Your choice of words matter.
Mhm.
Your choice of words matter. Your self-talk matters. This space, when you come into this space, you will be so enriched. So
Mhm.
enriched. When you leave this space, there's so many things that you can take away. And the beautiful thing, you have the opportunity to share this with someone who
Mhm.
can
Right.
benefit from this podcast. You can reach out to myself, Lady J, or Will. If you're looking for more empowerment, we are here for you. We are here for you. It's all about helping you to make that small change, one step at a time, until you reach to the level that you deserve.
Right. And don't forget, Rachel is connect with her today too as well. Connect, connect, connect.
Yes.
Connect with Rachel.
And the beautiful thing as well, as we move through life, our values will change, our boundaries will change because we are evolving every day.
Mhm.
Every day.
Every day we are evolving. And don't forget, whatever you're asking for, you got to match it with actions.
Right.
You have to match what you're asking for with the action. So today, we want to leave you with this. If you want to blossom and bloom, you got to nurture yourself. If you're finding that your thoughts is straying away, you got to harness yourself and bring yourself back. See yourself as love because you are love.
Mhm.
When you go out into spaces, spread love. If anything show up in that space that is irritating you, there is a part of you that still needs to be healed. Because whatever show up in front of you, it reflects part of you. Don't ever forget that.
Oh,
Don't curse it. Do not curse it. It's helping you to make changes in your life. So whatever show up in front of you, it's part of you that you're carrying around that needs that healing. So there are so many things in our lives. When it comes to healing, we need to understand that the healing process is not an easy one because things is going to irritate you. People are going to show up and you're going to be so irritated. It's part of you that needs to be healed. And you can do it. You have a choice. You can run from it. And when you run from it, you're going to run right back to it. It's going to keep chasing you until you get the message. So pause and heal. Pause, take the necessary steps, and heal. If you got to reach out and grab yourself a coach or a therapist, pause and heal. Because when you heal, you start to transform. And when you transform, you start to fly. And when you're flying, you see different colors. A light bulb comes on, boop.
yes.
So this evening, We want to thank you so much for taking your time and sitting here with us, because we really appreciate your time. And don't forget, we got our masterclass coming up in a couple of days. You're going to see some stuff going to be coming out, and you really need to be a part of that masterclass, because there's so many things that you will learn in that masterclass. You know what? We got a goods for you. We got it. We got a goods for you. We got a good food for you, because we're going to feed you really good. So when you leave that masterclass, you're going to say to people, I was well fed. And you're going to be asking, when you guys keeping the next one?
There you go. That's good.
That's going to be your next question. When are you guys keeping the next masterclass? That is going to be your next question. But the thing is that transformation takes time. We're going to give you materials that when you walk away from that masterclass, you're going to have materials to continue to support yourself. Even when you're not there in that masterclass, you know that you're going to have things that when you walk away, you know what? Lady J and Lady K give me these tools that can help me on my journey of transformation. So you will have things to back you up. We're giving it to you. Right, Lady J? So we just want to thank you so much for joining us. And don't forget to subscribe to Soul, Light, and Body. Don't forget, we got 2 books on Amazon, Your Gut and You, and Self-Care is Intentional. Also, don't forget that our magazines are free. Start Healthy. Go to the show notes. You're going to find all the links are there. Will links are there. Raschell links are there. Everything is there. So just go to the show notes. You're going to find everything. Subscribe, sign up. And 246 Bajan Vibes family, they're celebrating the 11th anniversary on the 22nd. Congratulations once again to 246 Bajan Vibes family for giving us this platform that we can bring enriching messages and to help the collective as they're experiencing their evolution. We can support them, give them the tools that they need for their journey of evolution. This is not a rush. Take your time and evolve. Don't rush the process. Do not rush that process of evolution, because you want to get everything that you need in that process. Because whatever you're experiencing right now, you're going to need those tools. So when you go through the next door, and appreciate where you are right now. Give gratitude every day. Wake up every morning, got a morning routine, because it's super important. As we said in the first part of the show, you need to have a morning routine to fuel yourself and honor yourself. Honor yourself. Each challenges and experiences is to help you as an individual as you go along this journey called life. So don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check out 246 Bajan Vibes classified as in the show notes, because you know what? They're helping us. We need to help them as well. It's a fair exchange of energy. So have a great week. We love you all. We're going to see you here next week on another great, interesting topic. Make sure you bring along a friend next week when you're coming to Enrichment of Mind, Body, and Soul Space. Thank you all so much and have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye.